This week we're painting a Chaplain on bike with a little bit of a Salamander twist. Roll the music. Hello and welcome, my name is Hammer, and this is Scuffed Hammer. Now, I know on this channel we're usually about saving as much money as possible for every model that you paint, but this week we're going to go a little bit all out for a dream model that I have been wanting to do for a very long time. And that is taking a Chaplain on bike and putting it on the Tau Kroot Lone Spear Rider. Even though Outriders have kind of always sucked and kind of still do suck, and they have no right being in my current list, I've always wanted to paint this one because I thought it would be awesome for a Salamander Chaplain to be riding a lizard. Now, how about I stop waffling and I get onto painting the video where I can tell you a little bit more about why this is my dream model. Now, I'm not going to beat about the bush. While these models are both very beautiful, they cost about $75 each, so this video was quite expensive compared to the rest of the videos I've done so far. I just wanted to get that out of the way straight up, because many times I've clicked on a video promising awesome kit bashes that are super easy, and the person uses like 30 kits to make it possible. That's just not feasible for the average person. And now that's out of the way, let's get on to the actual building of the model. For this project, I decided to pick up my plastic glue again for the first time in at least 12 months. And suffice to say, I was not wrong in my personal opinion about why plastic glue sucks. It just takes way too long to set. After I glued this jaw down, I left it for about an hour and a half to go do some jobs, and I came back and I put the top of the head on and the bottom of the jaw fell apart because it hadn't set. And I put the tiniest amount on it and it just took forever. So I will be going back to using my beloved super glue. With the pains of plastic glue aside, this model was so much fun to kit bash. As you can see here, I cut the butt of the Space Marine off the Outrider chair so that I could use it and make it sit on the lizard without using any green stuff or plasticard, because that's just not skills that I have yet. I also did some more simple stuff, like I gave the Chaplain the hand of the Black Templar champion that I painted a few videos ago, and I also took the book that's supposed to sit over the guns on the bike and made it look like it was implanted into the flesh of the lizard sitting behind the Chaplain, and this also helped cover up the fact that the butt had a giant hole in it. Now, onto the painting. I decided to base coat this one white because I'm going to use a special trick that I learned earlier, using pink and yellow contrast to really get a good orange-yellow flesh color. I'm also painting this model in sub-assembly, which is the first time I've ever done sub-assembly. The Chaplain I'm going to leave off the top of the lizard so it's easier to paint and get into all the crevices. Now, for the reasoning behind the yellow skin. If you haven't watched my past video where I painted my Infernus Marines, go check that out after this video. I explained that in Salamander lore, they go out and kill one of the monsters roaming the homelands of Nocturne, and it's my personal headcanon that one of those monster species has the same patterning as the Salamander scheme from the Badab War, and that they use that skin as fireproofing and heraldry when they fight in the midst of battle with flames swirling around them. But why does the Chaplain ride one of these? I thought about this for a while, and I came up with a great idea that isn't canon, but I would like it to be. What if recruits are chosen to be a Chaplain because instead of killing their lizard or dragon or whatever creature they come across, they decide to capture it and subdue it? This would simultaneously prove that the aspirant knows how to fight, but also has the ability to show restraint and mercy when it is needed. Personally, I think this perfectly reflects the values of the Salamanders. If you have a different idea on why my Chaplain might be riding a lizard instead of a bike, let me know down in the comments. I like this little detail that I added, that it has bright red eyes, just like the Marines. Maybe it's something to do with the atmosphere of Nocturne and not entirely the gene seed. Who knows? And for another first that happened with this video, I have done leather that isn't my usual Rhinox hide. I just felt that it would be a little bit too dark here, and I think I was right. I think the lighter color of this brown really let the black squiggly lines on the skin shine through. And for another first, I did a little bit of highlighting. Normally my hands just aren't steady enough to do it, but this time I gave it a try and my hands are a lot more steady than I remember. So this might be something that I will continue to try in the future. While we're just blasting through a bunch of different colors, doing a bunch of tiny details, now seems like a really good time as a reminder to say it doesn't matter what colors you use, whatever colors you have lying around that you think will work, that will work fine. I'm just using what I've already got and what my personal preference is. When you have unique color schemes or kitbashes or whatever, I find it really handy to have a reference to the first character you did sitting there on the table so you know exactly what it's supposed to look like. And in this case, when I painted my first chaplain, I was fed up with how frustrating the color gold was to paint. As you can see here, I've learnt and I've put brown underneath it so it's easier to deal with. But back then, it was just overspreading and just a pain in the butt. So I gave up, I got frustrated, and I painted the entire arms gold, which, on reflection, I think looks really cool and unique. Now with this helmet, I was going for a certain look for a certain character that everybody hates from a certain video game, and I think I nailed it. For me, character models are the perfect opportunity to blend headcanon with actual canon. Because not every chapter is going to be the Ultramarines. They all have their own customs and cultures, and I think changing up these characters, which are supposed to look a certain way according to Gilliman, is the perfect way to represent the uniqueness of the culture and combat and style of each specific chapter. Now, time for the decals, as Jay likes to call them. I recently got my hands on the new Horus Heresy launch box, that's a secret surprise that we'll keep for later, and thought that the older decals would look perfect on a chaplain. After that final piece is done, it's time to glue the chaplain onto the lizard, and then give it something to hold, so it's not just standing there with its arms out, following directions while the Marine steers it with its knees. It needs a lead, and I figured, why not make it so that the lizard's mouth is bound shut? This was totally for cool lore reasons and not because I'd had enough and it was annoying me and was really frustrating to try and figure out how to glue it down. And finally, basing. I used the same recipe I always do, the same red and yellow paint I stole from my mum, and then some Mordant Earth to make that crackle effect look like lava's showing through. For the final piece, it's time to glue it onto the base, and then it's about time for a final reveal. Well, that about wraps us up for this week. I hope you enjoyed this model as much as I did. Kit bashing and story writing, lore making, all that kind of jazz is my absolute favourite part of this hobby. If you have any cool ideas that you think would work well for my salamanders, drop them below in the comments or hop on over to our Discord and let us know there. That's all for this week. See you next time.